I already fixed the cup.
Oh, okay. Good?
Yeah, good.
All right, let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Who and How Club. It is your boy Aris Dejan checking in once again.
What's good?
It's been a long day, ladies and gentlemen. If you only knew what it took to create energy in spaces such as this and these platforms that us creatives, come up with ideas with and try to bring them to life to feed you all and to give you all some sort of substance and things to digest and delve into. We're having some difficulties today, as usual. As I mentioned on the live today, we were supposed to be shooting in control room. We're going to be shooting outside of control room today, and we'll dive more into that on why we're outside. But honestly, it sets a dope tone. There's more of it's a different kind of setting, and I like this ambiance. I think what this is right now in front of this brick and stuff like that with our guests today, I think that this is meant to be. We're meant to be outside. We're not hot. We're not boiling up inside of that room that we were just in.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of noise and distractions were in that room. When we're out here in nature, all we can do is just focus on each other and just focus on our conversation. So I think this is meant to be. So without further ado, we have a special guest on today's show, and he goes by the name of
Mike Regis.
And everyone, let's put some hand claps for that. Welcome to the show, Mike Regis. Welcome to the Who and How Club, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
First time guest, but not first time listener. You've listened to the show before, right?
Absolutely.
Am I correct? Yeah. And when you hear the title, like the Who and How Club, like what's the first thought that comes to your mind? Like when we asked you to be on the show, like what was the first thought?
Yeah, I was like, that is a very interesting title. The Who and How Club, right? So the who they are and how they did it. And I think that title breeds way to a lot of interpretation. And that's what intrigued me.
What about the how part? Did the how stick out at all?
The who and how? That definitely.
The who is like its own component, and like the slogan of the show is like, you are the Who and How Club, I am the Who and How Club, and we are the who's and how's of this world.
Word.
Hence the name, right? Like I truly believe that we make the world go round.
Mm-hmm.
Who we are and how we became the who's that we are today, and figuring out like the what's, the when's, the 5 W's, the who, what, when, where, why, and the how. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
So shout out to the Quiet Council for setting this up for us today. So I'm really happy that I'm getting this chance to meet you and just have a chance to just touch base with you on who Mike Regis is.
Word.
So we're going to dive deep into who you are. And in Who and How fashion, we usually start with like the question of all questions, right? That a lot of people don't know how to answer. Who are you?
So my name is Mike Regis. I'm a filmmaker, film director, going to be one of the biggest in the world. That's a fact. And for me, I'm at the core, I'm a storyteller. I love to tell stories, and I use this medium for my storytelling tools.
For self-expression.
Exactly.
What got you into this medium? What is this medium? How would you define it?
I would define this medium as visual storytelling. From a historical perspective, started as pictures, right? So film is just like a collection of pictures just going really, really fast. But with the emergence of digital, now you can record things. So that's sort of the medium. And I came in, obviously, being a younger person in the age of digital. So I would say, even to a degree, I find myself being a digital content creator, too. It's really exploded.
So you have more than just the director title. Like a lot of people from the old school, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're familiar with the term director.
Mm-hmm.
But you define what you do and the titles that you've given yourself more than just that one title.
Yeah.
Right?
I would say because there's video director. Hopefully I'm trying to be a television director. Yeah. So I like to say I'm a director overall.
A director overall.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're also a model. Or you've done some modeling, right? And some
acting.
Hey, man,
we got to pay the bills. We got to pay the bills, right?
So talk to the people about like what it's like for you as a person who tends to be more behind the camera, but then you have those little increments of moments where you're in front of the camera. Like how would you compare the two?
Honestly, I have to commend you all for doing that, because I can't do it. I love being behind the scenes. Truth be told, just the confidence, charisma you have to have on screen, and then somebody like me telling you behind the scenes, hey, like, that was okay, do it again.
Directing.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how y'all can do that, but on a serious note, I think it provided a tremendous amount of empathy for my actors. You know what I mean? Or people that I work with now. Now, I would say beforehand, I was bit more stern with my actors, but I'm a lot more empathetic because I know what it's like to be in front, or the nerves and all that type of stuff.
Once you get that experience, you understand what they're going through.
Exactly.
And it's very rare that like the actors get to know what the director is going through, because directing people, you're really managing people.
Yeah.
And there are many challenges to that, right? So like, what are some challenges that you have faced as a person being from behind the camera, managing, directing, guiding people who are meant to be in front of the camera? What are some challenges that come with that?
So that's an interesting question, and I don't feel like I have too many problems anymore, because I put thought into who I'm hiring on. I hire somebody to not stress me out, right? And that's what I really, really look at. The resume, the criteria, but getting to know them as a person. So for the most part, the people I collaborate are extremely autonomous, but I put that thought into who I would collaborate with, and sometimes you will have somebody that's very qualified, but doesn't have the personality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But somebody that's not as qualified, but has the personality, hunger, and drive.
Yes.
So it's the qualities that I like that are exhibited in the person that I want to hire, then I'll go hire them.
Can you still work with an individual who might not have, like you just mentioned, some people might have this, some people might not have that, or vice versa? Can you still find a way to work with either or?
Yeah.
Is there always a way to?
It's my job to make them better.
Make that happen. Yeah.
My job is to make them better. If you're weak in a certain area or skill set, it's my job to elevate that.
Yes.
It's my job to make you feel good about yourself when you come to work.
Yes. You mentioned stresses. So like, what are some of the stresses of the old that you used to experience that you don't experience anymore? And we can be fully transparent, Like,
you're shooting in 2 hours and somebody says, hey, I can't make it. That's big.
Like, you're like 2 hour.
Yeah.
We're about to start.
We're about to start.
From now, and pulls out,
we're budgetary issues, all those types of things, But if you put a lot of time and thought into really evaluating the person, even most importantly their humanity, who they are as a person, I think you're pretty much okay. If you really follow your intuition. And the times I didn't follow my intuition is the times I got screwed. But the times I really followed my intuition and really, really thought about things and evaluated the passion, the energy, and drive, has, compensating somebody for something only takes them so far.
Yes.
But that passion, drive, and will take them over the top. The heart,
Yes. I think that, like, as creatives, like, I think it's just, there are challenges that come with just being a creative overall. And I feel like those kinds of challenges only creatives understand. Whether you're from behind the camera, in front of the camera, you're a podcaster, a rapper, whatever kind of art form, there's so many challenges that come with it, because you go based off of how you feel. Like, if I don't feel like creating today, I may not show up or whatever, right? And like, people face that on a day-to-day, but like, you might, if you don't create this thing or get to this thing that you're trying to accomplish, you might miss out on something. So those are like battles that we have with ourselves, right? Has there ever been like a battle that you have faced where it's like you had a goal for yourself, you had this mission, but something personal got in the way, whether it was a feeling or,
So I'm different. I'm inherently a very logical individual. Like, very, very logical. I think too logical sometimes. So like, the logic side of my brain will override the emotional side of my brain. So there are times where I don't want to do something.
Does the brain have an emotional side?
I definitely. I have to elicit emotion for my job, right? Yeah. But if I know I need to do something, I'll power through it. You know what I mean? Like, if we're being real, one of my homies committed suicide. I went to his funeral, saw him open casket, and went to work the exact same night because I had a deadline. So that's how seriously I take this and how seriously this needs to be taken, you know? So there are times, of course, I don't want to do things, but I know I have to do it. And especially, you know, when you grow as a leader and you have people that believe in you, you know, much like yourself, I can't let somebody down, you know?
Yes.
So that's the way I look at it.
If it's okay with you, let's go back to what you just mentioned about your friend. You said he's a friend.
Yeah. Oh, that was my homie, man.
Yeah. Did you feel like you were suppressing any feelings that day when you went to the funeral and then still having to go to work that night and pushed yourself to really go in and create? Were there any feelings you were kind of suppressing at all, or did you put the feelings that you might have felt that day into the work that night?
That's a great question. No, that has me thinking. I don't think I suppressed those feelings. Maybe put it to the work, maybe subconsciously. But for me, it's like we got to keep it, you know, as sad as that event is, I got to keep it moving, you know? You have to go pay your respects to the individual, pay respects to the family, and then, man, you got to go get it.
I'm sorry for your loss, by the way.
It's all good, brother.
What did that person mean to you?
Oh, that was my boy. It's so interesting. Like, he sent me an email, like almost like 10 years ago, critiquing one of my little films, you know what I mean, in high school. And he was the first one to give me concise feedback. So to see, like, where hopefully we're taking this, you know what I mean, and where we're gonna take this,
it's in his honor.
I think he's gonna be super proud.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, you know.
Have you dealt with the pain or any emotions that you felt towards losing your friend? Do you feel like you've dealt with those emotions?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
You moved on from, how long ago was it?
I think almost like a year and a half, 2 years ago, because it's pre-COVID. Yeah, so it had to be in 2019.
Damn. Sorry, man. I don't know what it's like
all good, man.
to
It's
lose
all life,
someone
man.
that close to you. You know what I mean? So we just had a couple guests on the show this past week and on that episode, it was the first episode where there were kind of tears shed because we were speaking about death.
Yeah.
And people losing people, especially during this time of COVID.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I even shared, like, recently at work, one of my clients died, someone who I was really close with. And it's like, that's the closest I've been to death. But it's intriguing to see how people really react to death and what it really means to us who are still here versus the person who we might have just seen yesterday, but today they're not here. Yeah. What are your thoughts on death after experiencing something like that?
It's not a foreign concept to me. Like, I've seen it happen all my life. So I think if you're not around it, then it's like, oh my gosh. But I've not, like, to the degree of, you know, other people. Yeah. But it's not foreign to me. So, you know.
Do you incorporate death or those experiences that aren't foreign to you in your work and your creations? Pardon me? Do you incorporate them into your work at all, like death?
Yeah, I think
or those things that
maybe
you're
18th
not?
birthday. Yeah. Well, my bad, everybody. I gave away the ending. Sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's mentioning a short film that he directed that we could talk more about that after.
But
yeah,
I'm sorry, everyone. My bad. I shouldn't have said that. But I guess
you'll be creating more, right? They'll see more.
In the subconscious element, definitely. But I can't fear anything. I know that sounds. I believe I have, like, a very, like, militarized general mindset. You know, because when you're leading the team, because as a director, your goal is to. This is the way I look at it. Like, you know, to a degree, like, you're the captain of a ship. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you got to get the team to the other side. And that's my sole mission. I got to get the team to the other side. You know what I mean? And they can't see me sweat. So I got to keep it like 100. I got to keep it militant. I got to keep it stoic.
But I think if they see you sweat, it kind of builds a little bridge there between you, the relationship between you and the team you're leading. Because, like, I think there's power in vulnerability. There's power in showing that, you still feel, or you're not perfect, right? Even as the leader. That's why they trust you to begin with, to follow your lead. You know what I'm saying? Like, this person is setting a good example for us, is going to take us to the next stage or whatever, and we're all going to bust together, right? Whether it's through artistic endeavors or business ventures, whatever, you know, like teamwork. So I understand what you're saying. But I think it's important to, as a leader, to still show, like, show a little sweat sometimes.
Word.
You know what I mean?
I'm learning.
Yeah. It's because a true, and I'm learning this too.
Yeah.
It's okay to show the sweat because it shows that you're not afraid to sweat.
Mm-hmm.
That fearlessness is still there, you know? So like you sweating or showing the sweat, we're using that as a metaphor. Like it shows that you're strong enough to still sweat in front of folks and still be that leader, still be that captain and lead the team to whatever the mission is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, so talk about 18th birthday.
Yeah, I thought that was a little short film I made.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching it.
Yes.
And I think it was just something.
Thank you for creating it.
Oh, well,
because
thank you.
I think the subject matter in it it's spot on with things that we're seeing in the news and stuff like that, and in the communities that we're all from. You know what I mean? Especially being black. So
Word.
I think it was a necessary story to tell.
Word. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. And it's, I think when it comes to these projects, I kind of found that, like, I think as an artist, when I was kind of like, this is what I think and this is what I want to see, that's when people really responded. But when I was doing things I thought people would like, that's when no one responded. And I always found that very, very interesting,
So say that again. So when you were doing things that you liked,
yeah,
you're saying people were responsive or
yeah,
were not?
They were.
What you liked.
The things I liked.
As opposed to catering to what they liked.
Yeah, which I thought was really interesting, because you would think it's the opposite, right?
Let's talk. Let's debate that. Let's
Meaning
talk.
as in,
yeah,
if,
because we know, especially like in music, you let's use the music thing. Like, are you making it for yourself? Are you creating for self, or are you creating for an audience?
It's true.
So invite us into the realm of being in your shoes and what the differences might look like when you are creating for others versus for yourself. What benefits?
I think when you're creating for others, they're paying you. And when you're creating for yourself, it's self-funded. But I think when you're creating for others, you have to keep them in mind, Because I do some client work as well, fortunately, and that's you're creating it for other people, right? But when you do something for yourself, this is what I like. This is my point of view. This is my voice.
Yeah.
But what I found so interesting is in the films that I made, that my voice was and is expressive. That's when people start to gravitate towards. I think it's authenticity.
Yes. But yeah, for sure. I think if you build it, they will come, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of what medium you're creating in. And I think it's important to just express oneself.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure people will relate to it. Like when I created this platform, the goal was to just show people that like we could speak to strangers and learn so much from one another, right? And it's not necessarily like a self. It's not necessarily for self, but if I see myself in other people, and you see yourself in others, right? Like you're organically creating for everybody, plus yourself. Like I don't think there's a separation, is what I'm trying to say. Like when you create, you create. The moment you click send and you put it out into the ether, that's when it becomes for everybody else. I think at the core of creation, you're always creating for yourself because you are a creator. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have the eyes, you have the hands, you're the sculptor of whatever your idea, because it's coming from your mind. So it flows from your mind to your heart, through your arms and your fingertips, and you're controlling this thing. And now we have access to so many people. So the moment we put it out there, I feel like that's when it becomes for them, It's like a gift you're sharing to strangers, people that you don't even know.
Word.
Do you agree, or am I losing you?
I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, because I think this is on like an introspective point of view on that subject of like creation and creating for yourself. I'm more interested in the intention behind the creation. If I intend to create something for you, you know what I mean? I'm creating it for you. That's the way I look at it,
Yes.
Yes, I might be the creator, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But I'm creating it for you, and that's my approach to it.
Yes.
Because my cognitive process will change. It's like, what do you think about it? You know what I mean? That's what I'm going to say when I'm creating this. What do you think about it? What do you think about it? What do you think about it, right?
Yes.
And what your thoughts on that supersedes my thoughts on that because I'm making that for you. Versus me making something for myself. What do I think about it? And I put it out in the world, but I have to be wary and cognitive of the reception that I might get for it. That's my point of view on that.
I get it. Yeah. But we never know. We never know what kind of reception we're gonna. Yeah. We could assume. It's
true.
We might create something and we're like, oh, no one's gonna like this song.
Yeah, and then
it's the one
right
that propels you to the next level and is the breakthrough song of or the film or whatever, right? So it's just like we never know as creators. It's just it's like throwing things against the wall and seeing what sticks.
It's true, and it's and art. I would say to a degree is an emotional art form. You know what I mean? Meaning as in it's meant to elicit emotion. That's to say, I feel this song. This movie made me feel something. You know, there's a feeling associated with art in that art form.
Yeah.
So I think if you inspire an emotion or spike an emotion within your artistry,
that's an accomplishment.
I think it's an accomplishment.
I agree with you.
That's the way
Feelings.
I look at it.
I like that.
It's about feel, you know?
Yes.
It's really about feel. I think music especially, you know? Like
yes.
That's the way I look at it.
And movies as well. Like imagine many times like we retain information so like us as human beings, we're all the capacity of our memories are very different based on whoever we are and how much information we're actually retaining, but we'll never forget how we feel. And we'll never forget like how a movie made us feel or that where we were in that moment when that film was on, or like sitting on the carpet watching it at grandma's house.
Facts.
or that song with your first love, you know, or it's just stuff like that. Like art, like you're saying, art it evokes like
emotion
100%. So I'm with you on that.
And I think that's great art, in my opinion. You know what I mean? That evokes emotion, and I also feel evokes dialogue. Right? Like if you leave a picture and two people have a different point of view on it, I think you did a good job.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
They might both.
It should be polarizing. Art should be there should be.
Exactly.
People should be debating it and arguing it and having different sides of like difference of opinions on it. Yeah.
You got it. And
there's an accomplishment there.
Even if one person liked it, one person hated it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can still provide reason and point of view as to what works and what didn't.
So talk about how, when you started creating, like how and what drove you to start to like, okay, what triggered your creative abilities? Like what was that moment that you're like, oh, I'm able to do this? Like this is a power of mine.
Within the art form?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like how old were you? What
16,
was that thing?
I would say, okay, no, I'm just trying to really process your question. Okay, so I would say it was about 17 when I made like a little video and it was played in front of the whole school and they loved it. You know? It was very interesting videos, like literally about so the idea was my students took over the school and like the principal became Batman. And he went to go like, you know, save everybody, right?
Yeah.
But people were laughing, cheering and stuff. And this one teacher who I did not like, and we got into a lot of arguments, ended up liking the video. She didn't know what was behind it, but she liked it. I was like, I have something here, you know?
Yes.
So that's the way I looked at it. And I thought that was really interesting to be able to make people feel an emotion. Or for that, I was like 7 minutes, for them to forget about maybe the problems they have in their households. You know what I mean? So I thought that was emotionally gratifying for me.
Yeah. Do you ever look back at that creation? You ever revisit it?
I can't find it. No? I can't find it. I'm
somewhere,
cheese, man.
somewhere in the ether. Someone has it.
Someone has it. I know somebody that might have it. I'm gonna try to get that.
What was the so from 17, and you created this visual for your school, and you got some sort of reception. People laughing, people feeling, people who you never sort of got along with reacted to it and felt a way towards it. Then what spiraled into the Mike Regis I see today sitting across from me?
It's just that drive to really do this, you know? I was interested in video beforehand, but practicing my craft. And when I was in high school, I would email like some producers and stuff. And one producer from Toronto got back to me. He's like, hey, do you want to be a PA? You can come out. being like 16 at the time, my mom was like, no, you're not going to Toronto by yourself. Nope. But that sparked the interest of me coming here. Then I came here and I had no connections and I grinded. I could show you emails of just rejections and emails and emails and emails and emails. But eventually, some people saw the work I've been doing and just gave me a shot.
It only takes one.
And fortunately,
One. So you're not originally from Toronto?
From Hamilton.
You're from Hamilton. And
Born in Calgary.
Born in Calgary, okay. The ladies I had on the show actually are from Edmonton.
Oh, word.
They're fellow podcasters. They were on the show this week. They're from a show called No Shame Babe.
Oh,
and
wow.
They're based out in Edmonton. So it's funny that, So you're originally from Calgary, and then from Calgary you moved to Hamilton. What was life like in Hamilton for you?
It was cool.
Growing up.
It was cool. Definitely made a lot of friends. At the time, I definitely had a lot of... Well, my bad. I went to Calgary to Vaughan, then to Hamilton. We'll skip in the journey. But I would say Hamilton was great. I met a lot of great friends. I didn't have a self-identity at the time. So I feel like retrospectively, I definitely was struggling with that aspect of self-identity and fitting in and things like that. And I would see how...
This is during your teens?
Yeah. But I would see how, I would do things to fit in that were outside of who I was, and I never felt comfortable doing. You know what I mean? And
why do you think there's such an urge for us to because we all go through that at a certain stage, especially during our teens, right? We want to be cool, we want to fit in. Why is there such an urge for us to do that? Why do you feel? Why was it so important for you to fit in?
Well, I think from a societal perspective, we always want to fit in. It's acceptance. It's why do people go to church? You know what I mean? I think it's a social thing. I obviously
yes.
I'm a Christian. You know what I mean? My dad's a pastor, so I know if it's anybody that knows about the church, it's me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I believe it's a sense of community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think why people want to fit in is because we're social human beings.
Yes.
Why was everybody posting the black square?
Yes.
Because everybody was posting the black square.
Yeah. Without even knowing what it represented or what it truly was for. Do they even have an understanding of does this even make a change? What does this really represent, right? But they just want to jump the wagon, right? Anytime there's a colored background that needs to be posted, we see, and it's hard because we don't know who really means it.
Word,
You know what I'm saying? There's this influx of we're just seeing everybody jump on some sort of wagon, and it's hard to tell who's really genuine and who's not. But the importance of fitting in, it's a lot of us go through it during our teens because we're in school, we want a crew, we want to be around people we relate to.
Word.
But then as you get older, you kind of move away from that concept and you find peace in just being solo dolo, and there is no urge to fit in anymore. Did you ever transition out of that?
I think I made the transition, but I feel like people that are older than me still haven't made the transition. I see it all the time, right? And I'm not the one to judge because everybody's different. But what I've seen and observed is that, people got to sometimes look outside of themselves. You know what I mean? I know that's really kind of super philosophical, all that type of stuff, but really looking outside of yourself and saying,
we talk about that a lot on the show, so go.
Looking outside of yourself, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll find yourself in a space, in a situation, and think to yourself, why am I here? You know what I mean? Is this conducive to my growth? Is this conducive to my development as an individual? Is this conducive to my success as a person? And if the question is no, then why are you there? Because a lot of people want to fit in. You know what I mean? The majority of our society is working class. You know what I mean? So they're used to a routine. You know what I mean? So they're used to, a routine, going to work, going home, getting the group and the fitting in and being social.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I felt that, my validation and sort of my ideas and being bold gave me the confidence to stand out.
To do your own thing,
yeah.
To separate from that. There was no urge to sort of follow the crowd. Did God play a role in that at all?
I think so.
Your beliefs?
I think so.
Sort of finding your identity and stuff like that?
I believe that, yeah.
Yeah? How?
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, it was just the confirmation of certain things happening in my life, you know? And I believe when I just, you know, especially the pandemic when I was at home,
Yes.
just sitting and thinking, and be okay, if I had the chance to actually go out, like, what am I going to do? But dialing into myself, like auditing maybe the people I talk to, my friend group, like what conversations am I having with people? Are these conversations prone to my development, you know?
Yes.
And that's something I really
Are they inspiring you?
Exactly.
You know.
And that's not to say that I'm around people that don't inspire me all the time. You know, I believe, because I hate when people are like, oh, like cut off this person. You can learn something from everyone. I'm interested in who you are as a person, not what you're providing society, in my opinion, you know? So for me, when it comes down to standing out, or when it comes down to, you know, looking outside of yourself, I felt there's a lot of things wrong with me, to be honest, at the time. You know what I mean? I think I was acting a certain way. I was acting mature. There certain areas, you know, being cool with the cool kids, like posting up in the club, you know what I mean? I thought